All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. My name's Jeremy Haynes. I'm gonna be talking to you about a concept called consumption is key. There's a big problem right now that a majority of businesses selling into sophisticated markets are facing. Consumers are having a hard time pulling the trigger on simple conversion mechanisms. VSL call funnels are fantastic, but if you're not using strategies like the hammer them strategy as an example to dramatically amplify the quantity of content and the amount of time that user that just booked a call is consuming prior to the call. Same thing with webinars. Although webinars in themselves are huge, 90-minute to sometimes upwards of 3 hours framing tactics where you're getting a lot of consumption from the user, you can dramatically increase the conversion rate of a webinar if you get the consumption rate pre-webinar to be excessively higher. After you're running a Hydra lead form campaign on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok as examples, where you're getting somebody to fill out a basic lead form and instant form depending on the platform and the vocabulary, you then having a high probability to convert that lead in a short sales cycle time frame, again, really comes down to the consumption rate of those individuals that you are trying to sell to. We've seen it again and again and again, mainly in highly sophisticated markets where the users have been overly sold to. They've already bought stuff. They've been fucked over by the people they have bought stuff from and haven't gotten the results. So now they're jaded and skeptical. They're in these like states where they just get offered stuff that could potentially solve this problem so often that their trust is just in the floor. It's so low that they don't really have a probability to convert until you get them into the mental state of, this is my guy. Whether I can see the inside of the product, whether I've gotten the results or not, their content's been so good and talked directly to my problems and already helped me that this is my guy. I'm happy to give this person money because I feel confident enough based on the content and the amount of content I consumed that I'm gonna get what I need out of this offer. So again, if you're new to the channel, welcome in. My name's Jeremy Haynes. All we talk about on this channel is hitting $1 million months. That's what every video on the channel is dedicated to. We've helped 40 different businesses and growing hit $1 million months over the last decade. We take all the lessons from those businesses, hand them down to you in videos just like these on YouTube. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. You're probably wondering where the hell I am. I'm in my second home's dining room. Just to reiterate to you, if you're listening to somebody on how to make money and they're not talking to you from their first home and second homes in the same city here and there, what the hell are you doing? I'm not saying I'm the most financially responsible. I'm saying I'm gonna put you on game on how to make the money. You can do whatever you want with the money afterwards, of course. Okay, anyway, without further ado, let's dive into today's video topic. So I'm talking to a lot of the sales teams that we work with, internal sales teams, sales agencies, and the pattern is simple, evident, prevalent, and just common at this point. When you're selling into highly sophisticated markets, there has to be a change in strategy. It's not even necessarily a change in the conversion mechanism. Like, it's not like you have to change from a call funnel to a webinar to a Hydra to, whatever version, a DM strategy. Sure, conversion mechanisms can definitely make a difference. But what we found again and again and again is the salespeople consistently saying, look, when people show up watching content, they're like layup deals. They're at a much higher probability to convert. They're easier to close. And when I first started hearing this a few years ago, I don't know, I kind of thought it was an issue with the salesperson. I thought, oh, well, these salespeople fucking suck, and that's why they're not closing the other leads, is because they're just awful at sales. And that didn't work for me, I tried to attack it from that angle and solve the problem that way. And again, I've talked about this on the channel before. It just didn't work when I approached the problem from that perspective. Okay, what I had to do is I had to shift the perspective to, okay, if it was my fault and I could do something about it, what would I do to try to solve the problem to turn all salespeople into cashiers? And that's where a little over a year ago, I originated that hammer them strategy, which we've talked about on the channel many times over. We have several videos going through it, how it works, again, just pro tips about it, little tactics associated with it, caveats, nuances, all that fun stuff. So you can check that out in other videos. I won't talk about that here today. But what I will say is the hammer them started to solve the problem. The hammer them started to achieve the effectiveness and get the result that we were after, which was we saw an uptick, a pretty dramatic uptick in the quantity of salespeople that would give profoundly more positive feedback on lead quality, on the people that they were talking to coming through like better framed, more warmed up. We essentially were trying to replicate the organic sales process via paid ads with the hammer them strategy. And we mainly did the hammer them strategy with short form content, a lot of like sub 90-second reel optimized videos, okay? And all vertical, again, 30 to 50 pieces of these content. And the effectiveness of the hammer them is not to be undermined. I just wanted to increase increase its effectiveness that much more. So what I did is I modified it slightly. I've recently been testing adding in very long form content. So I had a mastermind for the inner circle, which we do every quarter. And I had everybody in the room stand up if they had bought something from me because of YouTube. And about half the room stands up. And I do a simple exercise. I say, okay guys, we're gonna do a simple thing here, okay? I'm gonna just go one video at a time. As soon as you've crossed the threshold, sit down. So if you've only watched one video to convert into one of my offers and officially give me money and say, this is my guy, I'm buying from him, sit down. And like literally one person out of half the room sits down. And I was like, all right, 2 videos, same concept. You know, you watched 2 videos, you said, this is my guy. Again, you then bought sit down if that's you. 2 people sit down. So now we got 3 people out of like fucking 60 that have sat down. And it's like, all right, and we get all the way up to about 6 before about half of those people that were standing sit down. So the lesson was really simple there. On average, in this particular case, it took 6 videos. And these were long form videos. These were not like short videos. And I asked them too, I was like, look guys, like my average consumption on YouTube is around like 5 to 8 minutes as an example. Are you guys watching for that amount of time, or did you like binge these full videos? And every one of these buyers in the room was very consistent with this answer. They said, no, like I like binged your videos. You know, like when I'm talking, I watched like 6 videos, like I watched the 6 videos in full. And they all gave similar feedback. We allowed them to talk one at a time and they all said very similar things, simply put. I watched all the videos, you spoke directly to my problems, you literally helped make me money and get me results prior to me even buying. I couldn't believe that like you were putting this level of game out on YouTube. It just felt like, you know, you were like the first person in ever that came along and actually talked to me at a high level and gave me like real things that I could do. You know, I love your way of communicating. Like essentially what they kept saying is, look, I got to know you before buying. I like your teaching and the style of what you're communicating about. You educated me, you helped me get results before I even gave you money. And ultimately it just made me feel comfortable enough to make a transaction with you. You know, they felt safe, okay? So here's the thing, short form is great for answers and for framing, okay? That's what I found. And long form, and this might be a weird word to use here, so I'm gonna make sure you guys understand it, is great for safety in decision making, okay? And this is the key here. Safety in decision making. There's a lot of these salespeople that we spoke with, and they would say, look, it's not that the leads aren't qualified. Like if anything, the leads are qualified. And with the hammer them strategy, like they do come through aware, they just don't come through educated enough yet. So what ends up happening on the sales calls is they end up having to essentially take the sales conversations and turn it into like an education time. And I'm like, how long are these calls happening on average? And the average salesperson saying things like, oh, I mean, some of these calls are like 30 minutes to upwards of an hour long. Again, when they don't show up already educated, that call then turns into an education call. That's the key that I want you to understand, that I'm really trying to emphasize in this video, okay? If you walk away with anything from this video, that's it right there, is if the education and the framing is not done before the call happens, or before the webinar happens, or before whatever it is that the conversion mechanism is happens, that becomes the education window instead of the sales window. You see? So a lot of businesses, like they kind of are forced to use webinars. They're forced to use challenge funnels. They're forced to do these things that in all honesty, they don't really want to do. Like here's the issue, okay? We work with busy rich people for a living and we know their habits in and out. We know their preferences in and out. We know what they want to do and what they don't want to do. And what they don't want to do is be like super involved in the business, doing a high frequency of live events. Like they want to be hands off, enjoying their life, running their businesses, figuring out ways to make more money and maximize revenue. You know, what they don't want to do, as crazy as it sounds, is just, again, be on live all day long, multiple times a week, doing like all day long challenge funnels or multi-hour challenge funnels, or, you know, once a week or twice a week webinars. Like there's willingness to do it if they literally fail with everything else and they have to do it. Right? But again, that's not the preference of these people. The preference is, I would love to get a call funnel to work. I would love to get something that's like a simpler conversion mechanism to work that doesn't involve me having to go live, you know, several times within a month for hours on end at a time, right? So again, from that perspective, you could, to be fair, instead of creating like a sophisticated content marketing strategy where you leverage like propaganda campaigns and framing content and like good long form content that's like genuinely valuable, if you don't want to commit to that or you don't have that, you're going to be forced, like you're forced into these, again, preferences that you might not have of having to do webinars and challenge funnels and these long conversion mechanisms where the education happens over 90 minutes or 3 hours at a time. And I want to be extremely clear. I love when my clients commit to that. Like those work really well. okay? Like, we are huge fans of that. And most of our clients, they are willing to do that kind of stuff, especially the ones that get upwards of $1 million plus a month. Like, they're more than happy to do those things. But again, they just don't prefer to do it. At the same time they're doing that, on the back end, what they're trying to do is get the other funnels that aren't as time intensive on them to work. So look, rather than making this video into something where I'm gonna sit here and tell you like, yeah, dude, you need to be doing webinars, you need to be doing challenges, you should be, to be clear. But regardless, let's talk about this call funnel and let's try to get this call funnel to work for you, okay? So let me give you some really pro tips that we're finding and testing actively, literally right now, that we're seeing great results with across our client base. And I'm gonna relate it to long form content consumption in this video and how we strategically work it in. So first things first, in my inner circle right now, I just released an ad strategy called the Venus Flytrap 2.0. And the Venus Flytrap 2.0 is a redone version of my original content ad strategy. As a matter of fact, I have an entire video on YouTube for free doing a really good job explaining what the Venus Flytrap is, how it works, when it's effective to use, and what the original version of this strategy is. Well, the Venus Flytrap 2.0, I have modified it rather significantly, but I kept the same name because I did the same thing with a 3-step video sequence prior to showing my direct response ads. And with that 3-step video sequence, rather than using short form content, I picked content strategically that I would sequence. And rather than using a single video, we would pick upwards of 5 to sometimes even 10 videos per step, target a specific threshold for the person to consume prior to unlocking the second, third, and then the 4th step, which would be direct response. And we've seen a very, very effective difference in results so far from doing this. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about this on YouTube right now because this is a strategy that in real time we're using on our clients and we're tweaking and we're testing it. And on top of that, I've rolled it out to my inner circle members who always get the first dibs on whatever it is that I'm talking about and testing, and they help me tweak and test it and fine tune it a little bit. And then from there, I roll it out to my master internet marketing students. And then after that, I generally will talk openly about it in more surface level ways, to be fair, on platforms like YouTube. Simply put, to still put you on some tremendous game in this video, here's some of the initial findings. When we get the consumption rate of long form, highly valuable content to happen in a threshold of about an hour, that's really all it takes, is about 1 hour worth of content, okay? And when we push people to consume prior to the conversations happening, we get a dramatically higher conversion rate as a result of that set of thinking, okay? Now here's the issue. There'll always be people that will not want to consume that content and will prefer to leverage your salespeople for an education, right? That's what they're gonna do. There's always gonna be a percentage of people. What I'm talking about here does not accomplish getting 100% of people to come into a call and treat it like a sales call, like they should. You're still gonna always have a percentage of people. And ideally it becomes a small minority. Ideally you get it to about sub 25% of people come onto a sales conversation and say, you know, hey, like I have all these questions, you know, and they treat it again like an education framing call rather than a sales conversation. Now your salespeople are still gonna have to be equipped to know how to sell to that specific demographic, okay? But again, let me put you on some game. So first of all, you can run a few different strategies here. Okay, and we've been testing all of these and I'll go through some of my findings so far. So if we do start off with just the standard direct response ads, okay? And that's where it all begins, is with the direct response. And we just run it straight to whatever our conversion mechanism is. So you could have it be a call funnel, you could have it be whatever. And in this example, we are gonna have it be a call funnel. But again, this could be like a webinar, this could be DM strategies, this could really be anything. And the person takes the action, okay? Like they, in this case, book a call. We've talked about this before, where in this specific window, what we're gonna make sure that we do here is we are gonna add a step where we have this supplement campaign, okay? And this is like the framing window. This is where the education should happen. So if we do treat it like that, again, this is our like framing education window. This specific step is where we're injecting the short form hammer them strategy, because again, still has a ton of effectiveness and is doing an incredible job at getting the outcomes that we want it to. So again, we have the short form hammer them, but we also have the long form hammer them, okay? And with the long form hammer them, this is a separate campaign. I want to make that clear. So this short form and this long form campaign are in separate campaigns, but they're both remarketing towards that exact same audience of people who booked a call, okay? So that's the audience type for that specific step. And depending on the scale that you're operating at, we've talked about this before in the other Hammer Them videos, you're gonna have to make sure that you increase the size of the audience to have at least 100 people that are able to get targeted there. So if you don't have at least 100 people every 72 hours that are coming through your call funnels, because you're just not at that scale yet, add in people who are within like a month as an example of your sales process that haven't bought yet. Juice it up to at least 100 people is the moral of the story, but make sure you pick audiences that are high quality and deserve to get remarketed by this content, where their probability of converting as a result of that consumption of that content increases as a result of getting hit by that content. Okay, and then again, after that, we then obviously have the call and ideally the close. Okay? Now here's my point. With the short form content, it makes people aware, it answers their questions, but this is the difference. There's one specific quote, I actually wrote it down so you guys could hear it yourselves, where he says, this is one of my buddies who runs his sales organization, and he says, what kills the sale is them coming to the call for education. So the short form is intended with the Hammer Them to answer a fuckload of their questions, but they're like buying questions, you know, and that's the key difference. The long form content is not like just in-depth questions about your program. The long form content, remember what I talked about up here, it's intended to create safety in decision making. That's what you're trying to do, okay? So as an example of this, literally use my channel. Go look at my videos because my videos create revenue. Okay, yeah, they get a dinky little fucking 1,000 to 4,000 views at the time I'm filming this video. Like my bangers get 4,000 views, you know? Yeah, at this exact moment I make this video, I'm sub 10,000 subscribers, okay? But here's the thing, all these videos you see on my channel are dramatically, like very high impact, creating a lot of positive influence on the mindset of buyers coming through our sales cycles. People are showing up saying, again, like I watched on average 6 of your long form videos before I felt safe enough to make the decision to come and buy whatever this high ticket thing is that you're selling. And that's what I want you to understand. All my videos are not like some framing video about my content, about my products, you know, like they're all just highly valuable. I'm literally trying, and I hope you feel this through the camera, by the way. Like I'm legitimately trying to make you money and help you out, you know, and put you on game and like put you into a better position where you can go out there and get results from watching my videos. And I'm trying in real time to essentially bribe you with so much unbelievable value, even though I'm holding back, to be fair, a tremendous amount of what I could tell you. I'm still trying to put you on as much game as I can for free without you spending a dime to literally make you go out there and say, dude, what this guy's talking about has made us money, is working. I like his communication style. I like the guy. The consistency of like, again, every video being fucking good is making me feel safe enough to like go and buy something from this guy. Because guess what? Like people like you sitting here right now watching this, you've already bought stuff like what I have to offer, you know, and you've been fucked by it. And that's the thing that I have to help you overcome. I have to put you into a mental position through these videos where you're like, dude, this is my guy. Like I feel confident enough to pull the trigger on this like multi-$1,000 a month offer that this guy's got, or this multi-$1,000 course. And you've already bought courses, you've already bought masterminds, you've already bought agency services, but you and I both know those guys have fucked you. And as a result of that, you take that trauma out on me. So again, with the long form content, what we're trying to do is not sit there and just fucking yap about our offers and again, like the very specific sales related questions that people will have about our offers. It's very like top of funnel content that you want to be creating. It's very like, can you give enough value for free? Can you truly put people on enough game where you're still, like I always say this, I go by the 90-10 rule. I put you guys on 10% of the things that I know and I withhold 90% of it for my paid products. And when I say that, some people, it's so fucking unbelievable that that can be true because you don't hear people talking about the shit that I'm talking about. You don't get this level of game for free. And so because it's so beyond the regular copy and paste personal brand bullshit you hear from people who are just all recycling different bullshit perspectives from watching somebody else's stuff and trying to give their little take on it, you get a guy that comes along that spends millions of dollars a month on ad spend and literally puts you on game to very high level things that you can go and do and make money as a result of that. You see how refreshing that can be? What's the version of that for your niche? What's the version of that for your offer? Like, what does your long form content have to become, or what it is right now if it does check that box? And then how are you going to strategically distribute that? And at what stages of your sales process are you going to distribute that? Because to me, what we've done is we just take all of our clients' long form content. We either tell them what to shoot, or we take what they've already got that works, and we just work it in at key points in the sales process that make a big difference. I'll give you another example where we work it in just to put you on a lot of game. I put you guys on a lot of fucking game. Here's the other spot that we put it, right between the call and the close happening. So not every call is going to be a one call close. So we create two separate buckets of content that are both short and long form, that hit people before the call occurs and that hit people after the call occurs but before the sale happens. Okay, if somebody one call closes, they'll never see that second batch of content. It's only the people who get on the call that don't close that will follow up with that second batch of content. So we assume, right? Remember what I said. Remember that quote. What kills the sale is them coming to the call for education. So assumptively, if they came to the call and didn't buy, we presume that they don't feel safe enough yet, and we also presume that they used the call for education. And if that's the case, we just treat it like they need a fuckload more education and they need a lot more of those questions that the short form answers. All the short form stuff is like the sales related questions, objections, expectations. It's a lot of like buying based information. The long form is like the framing, education, make them feel safe in their decision making type content. Let them know that you're the fucking guy or girl for them, okay? That's my point. That's the intention of this video. Don't sleep on long form content. And just to give you some perspective, here's one key that I want to make sure I mention. For a 1 hour and 55-minute video, it takes, listen to this, you ready for it? It takes $1.07 to get somebody to watch 95% of an hour and 55-minute video. Think of that. So to be clear, that video on the front end looks like it has 6 million views. So social proof is fucking insane. But in reality, there's tens of thousands of people that have gotten to the end of that video for $1.07 a piece. Now you ask yourself, well, how many $1.07 am I willing to spend on? Like as an example, if it takes 6 pieces of content, we're looking at about $6 and some random amount of change, okay? Are you willing to spend $6 per person to get them to consume, what would that be? Almost fucking 12 hours of content in that example for an hour and 55-minute long podcast. You see what I'm saying? It's like we get people just like you right now on my YouTube channel that'll come through programs like our Inner Circle offer, where we do the twice a month one-on-one calls, weekly group calls, quarterly masterminds in the group chat full of rich people trying to get richer, which by the way, we're raising the price on soon because a lot of people join into that offer from places just like where you're at right now, watching videos just like this. I get a lot of people that come through that funnel and they say, well, listen, I watched this one podcast you did where you talked about $1 Million Month. And then from there, I went and watched this video you did on like pixel conditioning, or I watched this hammer them strategy and like feels like it'd solve a lot of the problems I have right now. And matter of fact, I tried some of it. It worked really well for us. It got me the money that I needed to come and again, purchase from you. It's like, treat it like, you know, the casino logic, where if you go to a casino with $1,000, okay, and you gamble that $1,000 and you made $2,000, okay? So you walked in with 1,000, now you've got 2,000. You can put the 1,000 you walked in with in your pocket, and now you're gambling with what's called house money. That other $1,000 you have left now out of the 2,000 you just made is a free $1,000. It's like, that's the goal of my content, you know? I want to help you make that house money to come and spend with us so I can put you on to the really high levels of game that we have inside of my programs for you, like Master Internet Marketing, the Inner Circle, or even my consulting or agency services. So again, my point is, guys, content is fucking cheap to distribute. It costs dollars, okay? Dollars to get somebody to watch those 5 to 6 different pieces of content all the way to the fucking end, okay? I just simply prompt you with this today. How and where are you gonna work in that content to your current advertising processes to dramatically increase the effectiveness and the conversion rates of whatever current conversion mechanism you're using? If the call funnels aren't working for you, if you think your offer's not working for you, if you think your fucking whatever you're running traffic to isn't working for you, really just ask yourself, for the people that you have sold, for the people that you have had the best conversations with, do you have the same pattern where the people who do buy consistently say, dude, I just watched a lot of your content before I purchased. And if that's the case and you don't have an absolutely baller, like Navy SEAL Team 6 level sales team, okay? If you don't have that level of sales skills in your organization, you're not gonna be able to take cold traffic, run them through a call funnel or a webinar or a challenge funnel or DM strategies, hand them off to your sales team and just close them. You have to have a really good sales team to get that to work. So for a majority of businesses out there, from what we've seen working with them, they just don't have those. And if that's the case, look, there's kind of two things you gotta do, right? You either gotta build a team of fucking elite salespeople, or you gotta go out of your way to get this content worked into your strategy in order to increase the effectiveness of it dramatically and get those conversions through that otherwise right now are technically qualified people showing up that just aren't willing to give you money because they've been fucked by too many other people. You see what I mean? So anyway, hope you found value in this video. Like the video, comment, share. Check out my Inner Circle offer in the instance that you're rich and want to get a hell of a lot richer. Again, we do twice a month one-on-one calls, weekly group calls. There's all really valuable stuff, by the way. We just got done with our Q1 mastermind here in the middle of January. We got our next one coming up in April for Q2. And on top of that, we got an extremely active group chat. You can go in there, ask questions, get answers from me, get answers from everybody else in the group. I curate, and again, I know you've been fucked by a lot of other masterminds you joined into that are awful and they say these same things. But dude, I legitimately curate a fucking great group of people. There's some testimonials you can check out from members. I call them feedback videos, you know, because they're not really testimonials. They're more just like, I tried to give you guys some of the perspective from the people that are on the inside of the group at a most recent mastermind we did. You can check those out. They're scattered around my channel. I'll probably put together a playlist of them too so you can see that. But again, like, go out of your way if you're on the fence and you've been befucked by masterminds, but you're starting to find my content valuable. You're starting to get that perspective of like, dude, this might be my guy, you know, this might be the one. This might be the guy who can finally fucking help me that I can give some money to and he'll actually return it at a high rate. Go check out those videos if you're on the fence, you know, get the perspective that you need. Find what you need in order to get confident enough to make the decision. Because I promise you this, on my YouTube channel, it's all there. There's tremendous levels of game that I've put into each one of these videos, and I would encourage that you dive in and consume each one of them in the instance that you want to take me up on that bribe, which is taking action on what I talk about in these, going out and making a little bit of money, getting that house money generated, and then come and spend it with us. Let me make you some real money on some of my paid programs and my paid offers. And I look forward to that day. And thank you in either way for being here with us. I appreciate you watching all these videos. Go out there and get richer. I'll see you in another one.